Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. So the Kizer Begleiter, there's actually another Begleiter out there that is part of their Vanguard series. That one has, G10 handles and VG10. This is the one that's in the Bladesmith series that incorporates titanium and S35VN for blade steel and the handle material. So that's what we're looking at today. And this knife is almost perfect. Certainly one of the best ones that Kizer has done in a while. They've had a few pretty good models over the years. Almost all of them were missing just maybe that one little thing. One that comes to mind is probably the T1 model. I thought was pretty damn close. But anyways, so let's talk about why this knife is almost perfect, what I like about it, and what it is missing that could potentially make it perfect. So obviously we have a very long, slender knife, an American Tonto style blade here. It carries very compact, very slim, and really good for, thanks to a functioning pocket clip here, really good for slacks, really good for jeans. I really enjoy this one in slacks and carrying it around the office. I find that a Tonto tip can be very helpful with mail and packages and other things that I end up doing. So, yeah. All right, let's jump into the specs just real quick here. The most important consideration is that it's a blade length of 3.5, even though it looks larger. It's actually only 3.5 inches. Here's the pair 2 here. So there you can see it. I mean, it's pretty much the same size as the pair 2, but you get so much more cutting edge on this thing than the pair 2, although that's always been the case with the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So that is that. So again, blade length is about 3.5, handle length about 4.6. Again, blade steel is S35VN, and the blade stock is coming in quite thin. How thick was it? Wrote it down somewhere. Handle thickness is 0.46, so again, that's still fairly thin. And the blade stock, 0.12 inches, so that's thinner than the pair 2. And then they ground it down very, very thin. Very sharp edge. This isn't a knife you're gonna, it's too thin to beat it, but in terms of cutting, it's pretty excellent. So, and it does weigh in, at least on my scale, at 2.9 ounces, so incredibly lightweight. Now, weight has never really been an issue for me. The bigger issue is balance. Is the weight to the handle evenly distributed so that the first finger or the finger choil, such as on this one, is where the blade balances, and that's definitely the case with this one. I find, and we'll talk about this with another Kizer later, if it is either blade heavy or handle heavy, I feel like the thing's always trying to slip out of my hand sometimes. So this one's very well balanced, which I like. And again, if you like lightweight knives, perfect. If you don't really care about weight, you'll still really like this one. All right, blade here. Very high satin finish. The secondary bevel or the edge on this thing is super clean and consistent throughout. Very nicely done. You do have a fuller here at the top of the blade, and there's the info. So yeah, perfectly ground, and again, super duper thin, crazy thin. The action overall is pretty good on this thing. Again, with a really light, thin blade, you're not going to get that heavy drop shut close, which is totally fine. Handles are slightly contoured, and then again, such a long, slender handle just fits in the hand very, very well. Pocket clip is very usable. Lots of artistic milling on this knife that ties together very well. Love the pivot collars too. It's certainly a nice touch. Got 2 standoffs at the back and a generous lanyard hole. You could go connect both sides or one side, whatever tickles your fancy. And it is for right-hand users only. Stainless steel lock insert. A lot of really nice things, and it has been internally skeletonized, which saves a lot of that weight. And again, the weight's not really a huge issue. I'm more concerned with balance, and this knife is very balanced. What is the one downfall of this knife? That's going to be the flipper tab. The flipper tab, reasonably sized. I have no problem with the flipper tab, but it is slippery. I slip on this thing all the time, just like right now. That wasn't planned. It's just, it needs texturing, it needs jimping, if you want to call it that, just on the flipper tab. The rest of the knife does not need it at all, but that flipper tab definitely needs it, and that would take it from a really damn good knife to a just absolutely incredible knife. That's the only thing that this knife is missing. The blade is tucked very well down in the handle. Again, action overall, really good, really smooth, even though it's not a heavy blade. Perfectly centered. There's the lockup. Let me move my hand. And the lock bar isn't overly strong. It's quite easy to disengage. You do have easy access to the lock bar. So, yeah, very well done overall. Great design. Carries very well. Feels great in the hand. Very well balanced. It's attractive. This knife has gotten more love from some of my non-knife friends than knives that I consider way more interesting or way more exceptional, but it gets a lot of love for the styling that it has here. So anyways, that is the Kizer Begleiter in the Bladesmith series, as I recall, not the Vanguard series. The one in the Vanguard series, perhaps it's similar, it doesn't really look like it. Anyways, doesn't matter. But anyways, it does retail, I think, around 170 at dealers, so or maybe 160, somewhere in that price range. Totally worth it. So anyways, that is this knife. Hopefully I've made this video adequately comprehensive, but also a little bit fast here to save you guys some time and not hear me ramble too much. So we'll cut it off there. Thanks for watching. You can follow me on Instagram for more daily content. Link will be down in the description box below.